Move right on then. We'll go to the public hearing to hear comments on a request for closure and abandonment of a tract of land containing .913 acres located in the HT&BR Company Survey Abstract Number 283 and the MV O'Donnell Survey Abstract Number 470, Brazoria County, Texas. Said .913 acre tract being a portion of Oleander Street, 60 feet unimproved right-of-way, as dedicated in Dr. A.A. Luther a subdivision volume in a subdivision of record in volume 1, page 71, Brazoria County Plat Records. Any comments from the public? Do we have any comments for the public? First call. Second call for comments from the public. Third call, and we will close the public hearing and move on to the consent agenda. So does anyone have any issues with the consent agenda? Questions? Comments? Then I'd be looking for a motion.
I will give you a motion to approve consent agenda items A, B, C, D, E, and F.
I'll second.
All those in favor of the motion on the table, raise their hand. And the motion passes unanimously. We'll move on to the regular agenda. Consideration and possible action to approve and forward with recommendation to City Council Ordinance 2022-0-09. And I don't have to read that whole thing? Or I do?
No, council has to read the ordinances in full. If you can give a synopsis or an abridged version, that's fine. You just have to satisfy the Open Meetings Act.
Do you want me to read it?
Sure.
Consideration of possible action to approve and forward with recommendation to City Council Ordinance 2022-009. An ordinance of the City of Manvel, Texas, finding and determining that public convenience and necessity no longer require the continued existence of 60-foot city right-of-way consisting of approximately .913 acres of land being the unimproved portion of Oleander Street, located between Lewis Lane, improved, and Cannon Road, unimproved, in the City of Manvel, Brazoria County, Texas, vacating, abandoning, and closing said public right-of-way. Sorry, I didn't bring my glasses. Authorizing the mayor to execute and the city secretary. Oh, thanks. Oh, wow. All right. To execute this city secretary to attest respectively quitclaim deeds conveying respective interest in said abandoned right-of-way to the abutting property owners, providing for severability and containing other provisions relating to the subject. Oh, these are good. Thank you.
So, Ms. Jess, can you give us a brief overview?
Yes, ma'am. So the city is in support of the abandonment of this property. This is for right-of-way consisting with Oleander between Lewis and then Canaan Road. The city doesn't feel that this is a right-of-way that is needed. So we are in approval of abandoning that portion of it, which amounts to a little less than 1 acre of property.
Any questions?
I have a question. I did notice they have like flags out there. Is that like where the street is, or like it's like a strip of trees?
I'm not terribly familiar, but I would imagine we had to do a survey, and there had to be oh, my brain isn't working right now. We had to do an appraisal on the property. So in order to do that, you have to survey it to see how much property there is out there. So I'd imagine if they have some flags out there, that's what it's for, or it's possibly for the whole site as it is, because they are going to plat it all into one development site, because this is having to do with the agricultural barn that's out there.
Yeah, I guess that was my question. Like, are they just expanding like where the chain link fence is now, or?
For the agriculture barn, I know it's Is it towards a chain link fence?
Do you want to talk about it? We've got Alvin ISD here, actually.
Right, yeah. Okay. Okay. Oh, yeah.
And Dorothy,
Does
if I,
the property go all the way to the drainage ditch? Or? Like where so you have Lewis, and then you've got the ag barn, and then you've got like a little strip where there's like a sewer thing, and then you have like the group of trees that goes all the way to like, what is that road, Large or something?
eventually it goes down to Large, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess I'm just asking, that whole strip of trees, is that y'all's?
Yeah,
Okay.
until you get down to the next right of way, which is actually Canaan. There's one more right of way, although it's an unopened right of way as well.
Yeah,
But then, ironically enough, once you get past that, then Oleander's already been abandoned when it comes down to Highway 6. So that little piece was abandoned to, comes out where Johnny Lowe's, or Manvel Realty is, yeah.
okay.
So that's already been gone. So the only piece that's left, you'd have to build a bridge over C1, which,
Oh, yeah,
why would you do that right next to
Yeah.
School Road, which they just built, a
Right.
beautiful concrete road, so that's why. And they've been using this right away as a drainage for, gosh, probably 10 years anyway. It's sort of their inline detention, if you will, and then they built that big pond. So the pond is going to take care of any development that they need
Yeah.
to do. Yeah.
And just a simple question, I'm not familiar with this specific intersection. What school is this next to?
It's just to the east of EC Mason.
EC Mason.
The new one. Mhm.
Okay.
Right behind our water plant, if you've seen that on School Road. Mhm.
The map wasn't helping me, so she had a photo that did.
The road, the Cannon Road, is it really a road right now, or is just a plot only?
It's an unopened right of way. Canaan, it's just an unopened right of way.
Because there is a small section actually I'm looking at in a Google map, and it does shows that there is a Cannon Road, but there is a small section which doesn't represent.
So if you're going down School Road and once EC Mason's would be on your left, if you look, there's a chain link fence, or there's a couple of fences there right before you get to our water plant. So that's the right of way. So they weren't asking to abandon Canaan, because that could be a road someday. I don't know. I mean, we have no plans to do it. They're just asking for we'll just say north-south, the one that's perpendicular to Lewis.
Okay, any further questions? Comments? Then I'd be looking for a motion.
I'll give you a motion. To approve.
To approve, second?
I can second that motion.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion on the table, please raise your hand, and it passes unanimously. Thank you. Let's move on to consideration and possible action to approve and forward with recommendation to City Council final plat for Meridiana Section 54A, being a subdivision of 8.916 acres out of the Oliver Hall Survey Abstract 203, City of Manvel, Missouri County, Texas. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. This is a final plat for Mariana Section 54A. It does not meet the subdivision ordinance or adopted Meridiana OPUD with five regulations. One of those is to update the date in the title block. 2, to provide a land surveyor's signature. 3, to provide the drainage district signatures. 4, to provide a signed and notarized lien holder's subordination document. And 5, to correct a plat note number 19 on sheet 202 to reference detention is provided by detention pond N2 per the construction plans rather than detention ponds T and V. For those reasons, staff does not recommend approval of this final plat.
Questions?
those, most of the comments look like administrative comments, right? Seems to me.
I don't know, the drainage.
Not having a land surveyor's signature in the drainage district signatures, updating a date and a title block. If this was the only thing we'd have, that'd probably be just a condition of approval, just on that, so we were consistent, with the date and time that all this was being reviewed and possibly like approved. But those are two big items. It's hard-coded, within our subdivision ordinance, with Meridiana, that they have to have the plat signed by the drainage district, so. Also, the lien holder's subordination document, that basically says that the lien holder is acknowledging because they're the owner of the loan for the piece of land. So unless you're the sole owner for a piece of property, your bank has to either provide a lien holder subordination or has to sign on the face of the plat that they're acknowledging as owners.
Kind of like land question maybe would be, does city give them an opportunity before these things comes to us, saying, hey, you're gonna put this thing, you're gonna,
Yes.
They've been working with us, how many, since I'm here almost 4 years. I mean, like, they've been almost 5, 6 years. So they should know actually what's gonna be.
One would think, huh? One would think.
So, my question is, does the city give them at least heads up that, hey, these things need to be given at least within the next 5 days or 10 days?
Yes. So we have specified plat submittal days where plats can be submitted. At the end of 2 weeks' time, staff has to submit comments. Sometimes we do it earlier before that. So in between those 2 weeks, you'll get comments from us. By way, you have probably about maybe 10 days before this meeting where it gets resubmitted. Staff re-reviews it, is able to clear some comments that are made, or in this case not. And in the case of this final plat, it was never resubmitted. We gave comments, we never got anything back on this. I assume there are lots of moving parts maybe in motion with this, and maybe that's why we didn't get it back, so.
So let me ask this. So, Mohammed, if you look at what we approved on the consent agenda with one condition, so that's a one condition approval, which we've let go, but this has 5.
Right.
So I would think. Okay, any other questions? Comments? Remember our negative, positive. So I'm looking for a motion.
I will give you a motion to approve agenda item B.
Second?
I'll second.
All those in favor of the motion on the table, raise your hand. All those opposed, raise your hand. And the motion fails. Let's move on to number 3. Consideration and possible action to direct staff to approve applicants' written statements of the conditions for any conditional approvals and the reasons for disapproval of any plans or plats that were not approved per Texas Local Government Code 212.0091. And we're going to do this every time, correct?
Yes, ma'am. Do you want an explanation? Or y'all got this?
I think I'm just looking for,
I will give you a motion to approve agenda item C.
all right, and that's a second. And all those in favor, raise your hands. And it's approved again. So I'm looking for consideration and possible action to approve excused committee members' absences of our 2, I think Kyle's already called in for that, so that'll be 2 committee members' absences. Motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
I'll go second.
All those in favor, please raise your hand. And it passes unanimously. One more motion.
Oh, I have a quick question.
Sure.
I'm listed on here as treasurer, but I'm secretary. Does that matter?
If we had any money.
You have any
Had any
money?
money?
No.
We have any money? No. Money we don't know about?
I will inform.
Money I
Okay.
don't know about.
Good catch.
Okay. All right. All those in favor, raise your hand. Here we go, and we're done. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.